Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan.
And today we're a little late to this trend, by the way, but we're going to be talking a little bit about Kirk Cousins and asking the question of whether he's worth $84 million and just talking about his season so far specifically, not just about the Vikings, but we're going to talk about him really answering that question that I just mentioned. So does anyone want to start us off? Have any thoughts about Kirk Cousins?
Well, I just want to start, and I feel like we see some good things, but the problem is that the good things aren't consistently there. Like, they have a really good game here and there, and their offense is clicking, but then one game, like the one against the Bears, where they couldn't really get anything going on offense, only scored 6 points. Pretty much all aspects of the offense were non-existent. But then the very next week, they put up a much better offensive performance against the Giants. And yes, I know some secondaries are easier than others, but that consistency for Kirk in that Minnesota offense is what's missing, in my opinion.
I completely agree with that statement. I think inconsistent is one of the main words to use when you're talking about Kirk Cousins because, as he said, he can go up and light up that defense one week and the next week he just doesn't look like the same player at all. And if you're making as much money as he is, $84 million for the 3 years that he's been there,
that's a lot.
That's a lot of money to be making for it. You cannot be inconsistent. You got to be a good quarterback. Like we're seeing, Russell Wilson got paid this year. He's playing up to those expectations. So far, Kirk Cousins, he's playing okay, but not worth $84 million.
Yeah, I agree. Jordan, what do you have to say about Kirk?
Well, I think it's really hard to judge Kirk just as the way that offense is running. They are a run-first offense, and we saw that from the first game. 10 attempts passing, 8 completions, which is not bad. 8 out of 10, that's 80%. Quick and easy math for me right there. But 80%, that's not bad. But this offense is centered around right now. I don't know what's happening to my screen, but it's centered around Dalvin Cook in this run game. That's what they're trying to get involved. Now, of course, they still have Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, and of course they want to get their quarterback rolling as well with that. But they are centered a lot of the run game, so it is tough to judge him on that. Now, I understand all these things with he hasn't played too well, but the game after he didn't play too well, everyone was like ripping on him, was the Bears game. And the Bears have a pretty good defense, and they played a very solid game that game. So it's not all on Kirk, and I understand he is getting paid a lot of money, but they took the chance on him, and although he's not the greatest quarterback in the league, I bet we could all agree on that, he's still got some good things going, and he's got the people there. He just got to have people trust him. He's got to get into zone, and when you're running it a lot, sometimes you get out of rhythm when you have to actually throw a pass. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do in the future. Obviously, he's not living up to expectations right now, but I think he can climb back up there. I think another thing to point out about Kirk Cousins is when he plays, he seems to play a little scared, especially in that Bears game. You could see, I was rewatching and while you're seeing the highlights that are probably currently popping up on your screen, but I'm watching, you can see his face after the play and before the play. He looks concerned in the pocket, and as a quarterback, you have to be confident. But you got to give him credit this week after all the adversity with Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen. And that's everyone on the offense not saying he's good enough. He came out against this Giants team, and he had himself a good game, throwing 2 touchdowns to Adam Thielen, making him happy. Stephon Diggs has not said anything else yet, so it's looking better for this Vikings team. Yeah, this previous game, 27 attempts, 22 completions, 306 yards, 81.5% completion rating. That's better than the first game with 80%. Granted, it was 10 passes. But that's not bad stats. It's actually pretty good stats, especially for 27 passes. He had 36 the week before against Chicago and only put up 233. The week before that, 21 for 174 and 32 for 230. So 27 for 306, not bad. Of course, they were trying to get him more involved this week and make him look good. But yeah.
Yeah, and another thing with Kirk Cousins, I think it's interesting to point out how last year, first year in a new system, obviously coming off the saga in Washington where he was kind of the franchise quarterback, but at the same time not really. But I think at this point now it's kind of hard to find excuses for him because, like you mentioned, Tyler, Adam Thielen, he's got Adam Thielen and for now Stephon Diggs, Kyle Rudolph, Irv Smith Jr., an improved offensive line, and one of the young emerging running backs in our game in Dalvin Cook. So it's not like he doesn't have guys to work with. So I just really think the consistency is the key because, Jordan, you mentioned his stats from that Giants game last week. Those are really good, but the problem is he doesn't put those up or anything close to those up on a regular basis.
Let's just go back to the Green Bay game. He had less passes in that game than he did in the Giants game, and he had more passes and he put less completions onto them. He had 32 attempts for 14 completions, and that's not what you want to see at all from a quarterback. That's 43.8% completion rating. That's just downright awful for a quarterback. You don't want to see that ever. And they ended up losing that game very badly. It was 21-16 loss, which it's closer than it seemed, but I believe that game was just closer than it seemed as they scored towards the end of the game. But can't be one-dimensional in the NFL. You can't just rely on the line. You can't just rely on the pass. You can't just rely on the defense. You can't just rely on the offense. You have to have something there on both sides unless something is really, really good. And Dalvin Cook's a great running back, but he's not going to be able to keep this team rolling throughout this whole year.
You have to wonder as well. There's got to be a reason why Kevin Stefanski is continuing to run the ball so much. I understand that Dalvin Cook is talented, but I feel like there's a little I don't know if he trusts Kirk Cousins enough to throw it. Of course, we saw in that first game, he threw it 10 times. This one he threw 27, which is, I don't know what the average is, but I believe that's below average. I'm not guaranteeing that, but there's got to be some reason as to why they're not passing as much. For a team that passed a lot last year and it's switched. Last year they couldn't get the run game going. Now they're mainly getting the run game going. I feel like there's a reason why Kevin Stefanski is calling these plays.
Yeah, and you mentioned last year, obviously we didn't see as much of Dalvin Cook due to injury reasons, and with, as you mentioned, they were more pass-heavy last year. They missed the playoffs. So if the Vikings go more run-heavy this year, I'm eager to see what that results for them. Do they make the playoffs? Do they win the division by switching up how they call their offense? I think that's something to watch as the season goes on.
Yeah, I believe that's going to be something very interesting to watch. But that's really, I think, anyone else have anything else to say about him before we wrap up? Or
I just really think that he's under a lot of pressure, especially after last year, because last year the Vikings were coming off an NFC title game appearance, and then so that obviously the expectations are high, and then that's not all on him, but then the Vikings missing the playoffs, that was obviously a big disappointment for their team, and people are wondering, is he the guy? But they signed him to that much of a contract with all the $84 million, so I don't think they were considering just giving up on him. But I think now it's like, okay, the Vikings fans are like, okay, Kirk, we're stuck with you. You got to live up to expectations. We see flashes of potential, but again, consistency is the key. Can Kirk Cousins consistently produce a lot of points, a lot of touchdowns for the Vikings offense? That's what we need to find out.
And I'm just looking at a quick list right here of this year's rushing attempts per game. There's teams in front of them like San Francisco, Baltimore, who have a lot of good runners. Baltimore, it's Lamar Jackson, not Mark Ingram, all those guys. And then San Francisco, they have a 3, possibly 4, once Coleman comes back in the backfield. What?
Are they at 3, the Vikings?
The Vikings are actually at 6, but it's basically really close. So the 49ers and the Ravens, 49ers have 38, Ravens have 36.
49ers haven't even played yet.
No, and the Colts, well, this is per game.
Yeah.
But the Colts have 31, and then the rest of them are all in the 30-point-something range. So there's 2 30.8s, and then Minnesota brings it up at 30.6. So it's not like they've been running an unnecessary amount of times, but these teams in front of them are all basically run-first teams, except for Detroit, which is interesting. But they're getting Kerryon Johnson more involved, but we're not talking about Detroit. We're talking about their NFC
Same
North.
division.
Yeah, NFC North rivals, I guess you could say, in the Vikings. So that's just an interesting stat there that I found.
Yeah, and one more quick thing. I'm looking at the passing stats. Kirk Cousins is actually behind some guys who think an $84 million quarterback should be ahead of, and that being guys like Jacoby Brissett, Marcus Mariota, and Joe Flacco, who is well past his prime. So I just think it's really interesting to see how he progresses and if he ever proves that he was worth those $84 million.
And just one more side note, Dalvin Cook has 92 rush yards this year. Or the attempts.
Attempts, I was going to say. He has a lot
Rush
more
yards,
than 92
he has
They
rush
are
yards.
run-heavy
Rush
offense.
yards, he has 542. 5 touchdowns already.
All right, well, I'm getting thrown something here. Let's see what we got. I'm unveiling something. We don't know what this is. This is at a random time. So you guys are getting a live reaction to what this is, as that's not what it is. This is what it is.
Alright, we got a reaction video now.
Well, I can already see what it is.
Oh,
and
that's
wow.
Wow.
That's cool.
There it is.
That is sweet.
The live reaction. Good
Wow.
timing.
What do you know?
That's cool.
What a surprise to this video. Thanks to my father for making this for us. Didn't even know this was coming.
This is awesome.
This is going back right there behind us now.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe we can hang it up there. We'll see. You'll find out what we do with this in the next video.
Yeah, we can
But
put
I
it
think-
above us. We can put it back there.
I
down
think
here.
now that we've talked about Kirk Cousins and this epic poster thingy here,
Yeah.
now it's time to wrap it up. One more thing about Kirk Cousins as well. Maybe the Vikings did expect a little bit too much of him, paying him $84 million. Of course, he was the only quarterback to be going that year as in a free agency, so that could
That's
be
true.
another effect to it. So with that, with this new poster, that's what we got to say about Kirk Cousins. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let us know in the comments section if you want us to continue to do things where I put the video over us talking, or if you'd like just normal commentary with no videos.
We'll see if
over
you
us.
want to see our beautiful faces or not.
Yeah. So, thank you guys for watching once again. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, comment down below as I said before, and hit that notification bell as well. That rhymes. And yeah, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.